Good evening, guys. Wednesday, November the 28th, I believe it is. I don't know what I'm going to title this video exactly, but it's mainly just going to be me talking some of my opinion, and it's going to be about agriculture, the money in agriculture, and a lot of it's going to be about beginning farmers because I get asked that question a lot. Is there any way for a young farmer to get into agriculture? You know, is there any money in agriculture? And right now, you know, everywhere you go, you hear there is no money in agriculture. There's no, and I'm not saying this, I'm just saying this is what you hear. There's no money in beans, there's no money in soy, there's no money in corn, there's no money in livestock. And to some extent, I kind of agree with some of those, that those commodity prices could be higher, but I think we've also put ourselves kind of in this position. And I don't want to pick on any sectors, but it's like really easy right now to point out, and I'm going to use this as an example, you know, because combines are running right now. And I'm not going to try not to turn this into a rant video because I don't like those kind of videos, and it's not what I want. But anyway, the combines are running right now in the fields, and you'll see a field, and a farmer will have two combines, and I'm not even going to pretend to know what equipment costs. Large equipment, it's just not something I deal with, but let's just roughly say 850,000 combine, and then you got a $500,000 or $500,000 tractor, and then you have the seed wagons and all that, grain carts to haul back, and that's 250,000. And you know, they're something that they use just a few weeks out of the year. And if you talk to a farmer, usually they'll say, well, we have to have that. We got to get that grain out timely, and this and that. But would it be that important if they didn't have those payments on that large machinery? You know, that's a question for each individual person in their operation. I just know that around here, the couple farmers that I know that are probably the most profitable are the farmers that use some, I won't say aged equipment, but used equipment that's very well maintained. One farmer I know in particular, you know, he actually he has well-maintained equipment that's not newer. It's not computerized. It's not, you know, the latest and greatest. When it's time to harvest, those guys run 24/7. And the funny thing is he's hired ex-farmers, the guys that have went broke around him, to run his equipment, and he pays them well. But you should, you know, for experience and things, if you want a job done right, you almost have to pay for it. You can't cheap out on your labor. Honestly, you can't cheap out on your equipment either. But anyway, that's as far as I'm going to go on that. It's just kind of, I guess, food for thought, and I hope I don't get a bunch of hate for that. But anyway, it's just something to think about. And I'm going to stick mainly with beginning producers and livestock, because all the time I hear, is there any money in livestock? Can a young producer get started? And I'm not going to pretend to have all the answers. And I'm also going to come right out and say that I don't always practice what I preach. And I'm going to admit that as I go along through these things. I'll say that there's things that I should be doing or need to be doing that I'm not, and I know that. There's things for me to work on in the future, and some things just aren't attainable. But you know, each individual person should do that on their own. So these are just going to be some of them. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to do anything. I'm just going to try to give some advice on my failures and experiences I've had, and things I've learned along the way, and maybe keep somebody from not making those mistakes, because I have made a lot. Thank goodness I've recovered a lot of them. I'm not going to get into everything, but you know, I've had to start over once. anyway, let's see here. What do I have here? The first thing, I guess, if you're a beginning farmer or you want to get started farming, and this is going to lead back to kind of how I started this video out. The first thing you need to do is decide if you want to make money or if you want to just say you are something. Do you actually want to make money? Is that a goal of yours? Or do you just, do you have it set in your head that you want to have $500,000 combines, or you want 5,000 head of cattle and semis and all that stuff? You have to decide that first off. I mean, no reason to lie to yourself. The one person you definitely shouldn't lie to is yourself. Do you want to make money, or do you want to just have certain things? Let's go with livestock. Are you going to decide that are you dead set on being a cow-calf producer? Are you dead set that you're going to raise club calves only, or you're going to be a purebred operation? If you've already decided that, then you haven't decided you're going to make money. You've decided on a choice, a path that you're going to go down. Whether that'll make money or not, that's to be decided. You got to pencil those things out. If I was a beginning farmer, or I wanted to start farming, the way I guess I would go about it is I would find an established farmer out there and work with him or for him. And most farmers that are getting older and retiring, lease part of it, sublease from them. They've got their herd and they're going to run, and you're going to work for them and say, hey, I'd like to add 20 head or whatever to that herd. And most farmers will probably see that you have some initiative there, and they'll really work with you. They'll enjoy that. That would be how I would get started in the livestock industry. The next thing, I guess, in livestock or farming in general, if you're wanting to get started, you need to decide what your talents are, what your liabilities are or your shortcomings. You need to decide or realize what you have available to you. I mean, when I first started, I grew up on a farm, but my family farm was sold when I was younger, and so it wasn't available to me. But the one thing I did have was a truck and trailer. I had that when I was 16. I had it to my use and availability always. I came up, my grandfather, and was always in the stockyards and stuff, and I was around that all my life. So that was an availability to me. Also, I learned the values of livestock and how to deal with people. So those, I realized, were talents or assets to me. So that's something you need to decide, what you have available to you. The next thing I would advise somebody that's starting out, and this is going to go back to the beginning too, is keep your debt and leverage low. And this is a lesson that I had to learn the hard way. I just say that I just had to learn that lesson the hard way. That's all I'm going to go on about that. But anyway, if you own your livestock, it doesn't matter if you own 10 or 12 or 20 of them. You can do what you want to with them. But if you have 100 and the bank actually owns them, then they control them. They can tell you when you can sell them, where you can sell them. Most times that doesn't happen, but there is that ability. And leverage is just never a good thing to have over you. It is a good thing to have that you control, is leverage. So you can actually grow fairly quick, I think, in livestock. So if you know what you're doing, so I would, like I said, keep your debt low. Like I said earlier, don't go out and buy everything you need at the beginning. Like I said, you need to decide if you want to have a truck, a trailer, if you want to have big tractors and all this and that, or if you want to make money. And your first goal should be to make money. This is going to be one of those places where I'm going to say that I don't practice what I preach or whatever. I work a full-time job and I do this on the side. I could quit my job. I know that I could and do this full-time. But if I did that, then realistically, what I would have to do is give up my nice John Deere tractor. I have a nice new truck and a big livestock trailer, and all those things are beneficial in my operation. But to be the most profitable and to create an income, those things really need to go. And I'm just going to be honest about that. I mean, there's no reason to me to lie to myself or anyone else. When I first started, I was not going to have I was going to have a tractor, but I wasn't going to have any hay equipment. I was going to have it all done custom, and I did for a long time, or for a while. And the neighbor that I had, he passed away, and it got hard to get it done. So first I bought a mower, and then next thing you do, you had a rake, and then I had a baler, and this year penciled it out, and I only made first cutting, and that's probably what I'm going to do, continue to do. I'm going to keep the equipment I got, and I'm going to keep maintaining it, and there's no reason to really, I guess, to sell it, but there's no reason to buy newer. Just going to make that first cutting in May when grass is overgrown, get it off my ground, wrap it or whatever, and any other hay that I need over top of that, it's going to be purchased. When you're figuring for livestock, that's one thing you really need to do. You need to pencil everything out. And I guess I'm preaching to the choir on this one, I'm sure, to most people, but you need to decide if it's cheaper to buy your hay or if it's cheaper to make it. And with fertilizer cost and things right now, fuel cost, all that, a lot of your commodities, I know corn I can buy way cheaper than I can raise it. Same way with hay. You can buy hay by the ton. You can get whatever protein level you want, whatever kind of hay you want, and have it delivered. So I just don't see the hassle of making all that myself and putting all that fertilizer into the ground. And when you're buying that hay, that actually is bringing resources into your ground, or compost and mulch and all that. It's bringing nutrients back on your farm instead of taking off of it. Beginning farmers, I've always heard this saying, my grandpa used to say it about the Amish, don't buy what you can lease, don't lease what you can rent, don't rent what you can buy.